start the program. First of all, welcome Srimati Jayanthi Kumaresh and Kumaresh. It's our pleasure really that you are able to join us and share some thoughts. Welcome to you both from the entire CFI community.
Namaskaram. Namaste. Such a pleasure to be part of this beautiful event. Thanks for having us.
Our pleasure. So let us start the program. Good evening, friends. Welcome to an exclusive Jugalbandhi program today brought to you by CFI. What do leadership, coaching, and music have in common? That's what we are going to explore today. As you all know, CFI's vision is to help leaders discover and actualize their potential. This program is a novel attempt in pursuit of this vision. Let us listen to eminent leaders from other fields of human endeavor. Let us cross-pollinate thoughts and the practices that will be absolutely relevant for us. The term Jugalbandhi has been conventionally used in the context of Indian music as two musicians performing together. What defines Jugalbandhi is that both the musicians act as lead players with equal footing. That's what is Jugalbandhi. Interestingly, we have many Jugalbandhis in today's program. To start with, it is going to be the Jugalbandhi of Jayanthi and Kumaresh. And they are the renowned musicians par excellence. We will introduce them as we go through. Dr. Jayanthi Kumaresh is a Veena virtuoso and Kumaresh is a Violin maestro. And we are really lucky to have them today to our program here. We'll musically introduce them as we go on further. They play Jugalbandhi on the stage as well as in life too. Actually, when I called them to invite them and explain the concept, they accepted enthusiastically in spite of their extremely busy schedule. Really, we are thankful to you again, Jayanthi and Kumaresh. Thanks a ton. Hope this will be an interesting experience for you as well, talking to the community of CX4s, HR people, senior leaders and coaches from the industry. In the virtual world where geography is history, this is an attempt to pool our resources within CFI and strengths across chapters for an event. So this is the first one, collaboration between Chennai chapter and Bangalore chapters of CFI. So that's another Jugalbandhi what we are witnessing. Of course, the third is the program itself will be led as a Jugalbandhi by two of us. We are both coaches and musicians. This is Sri Krishnan, a Carnatic violinist and coach in making. Glad to be here with you today. Ram?
Yeah, this is Ramkumar. I'm a Mridangam artist and a CFI coach.
Thanks, Ram. So today's program outline is going to be as follows. We will introduce the eminent artists here with us. They will share some thoughts on the topic from their vast experience. And then we'll be asking questions to them. Initially, it will be Ram and me asking questions. And then we will also give a chance to the audience. I know many of you are eager and you have sent already many questions. We will also have you asking directly, interacting with the great artists. So let us start with an introduction of both these great artists. And their music first speaks for themselves. So I'm going to play two 1-minute clips of their music so that you know what it is. The first one. So that was a small clips, as you would have seen what a team play between the greatest musicians of India. They have performed both Jayanthi and Kumaresh. What you saw is, of course, all of you know it's with Ustad Zakir Hussain. They have played with like that many other eminent world level musicians and all over the world enthralled connoisseurs across the world. I'm going to play another clip of music. This is a unique musical form which they have created and played. The program itself is titled Strings Attached, and they have many compositions uniquely called Raga Pravaham. So let's hear another minute of music. So friends, hope you got a glimpse of the musical genius. We can't do that in 1 minute, but I just picked up 1 minute clip. You get a feeling for that. So that is a genius, music genius, and how they play Jugalbandhi with equal footing you watched. Let's get into the introduction. Ram, could you please go ahead with introducing Dr. Jayanthi Kumaresh?
Yeah, thank you, Sri Krishnan. Now, every one of us knows that the name Dr. Jayanthi Kumaresh is just synonymous with Veena. She is India's torchbearer worldwide for Saraswati Veena, which is the national instrument of our country. And she's an artist, she's a collaborator, she's a composer, she's a researcher, she's a creator, pioneer, educator, and so many life achievements across over 35 years. And she truly kind of embodies the rich cultural and musical heritage of India, making her one of the legendary Veena masters that India has ever produced. And there's so many prestigious venues and festivals she has performed in India and abroad. Many international festivals, including the San Francisco Jazz Festival, Darbar Festival, London, Queensland Music Festival, Darwin Music Festival. I mean, the list is just endless. And she's also received many awards in India, such as Sangeeta Chudamani Award, Kalaimamani Award by the government of Tamil Nadu, Sangeet Shikhar Samman, Veena Nadamani, Kala Ratna, Satyashri, Gana Varidhi, then Indra Sivasailam Endowment Medal. And I've been fortunate to be personally witness some of these award ceremonies as a part of the audience, and we eagerly look forward to her award acceptance speeches. I mean, she's such a brilliant communicator. I can personally vouch for that, and you'll all come to know. So every time I've gone to her award acceptance speeches, looking forward to hearing her speak as well. So, and as a pioneer in her field, she has represented Veena to audiences in every nook and corner of the world in different formats. And she's really literally been this ambassador for the instrument. And apart from her solo concerts, she has performed with legends such as Ustad Zakir Hussain, like you saw. And she has presented duets and North-South Jugalbandhis with many other maestros. And she's done a lot of different unique concepts. Like she's founder of Indian National Orchestra, featuring 21 star musicians from across all over India. This is one of its first kind of orchestras for Indian classical music. Her album Mysterious Duality, you must definitely listen to it if you have not. It's a path-breaking album where one artist and one instrument, they have created like a philharmonic effect. She brought out a web series called Carnatic, which has been very, very popular. It popularizes Carnatic music in general and Veena in particular, and it has more than 2 million views on social media. She holds a doctorate for her works on styles and playing techniques of the Saraswati Veena. She gave a very, very well attended lecture at the Music Academy many years back on the same as well, and in many other venues. Her series of talks and lecture demonstrations in various universities, schools, TEDx talks have made her a sought after ambassador of Indian music among different generations of Indians. As a composer, also, she has composed and created music for many musicals. So we are really fortunate that she is here with us today to talk to us. She's like truly dedicated her life to Saraswati Veena, and her playing style almost brings out the voice of the Veena in terms of originality in content, technique, virtuosity, expression, etc. So welcome and sincere thanks to Dr. Jayanthi Kumaresh. And over to Sri Krishna. I request you to introduce Kumaresh ji.
Thank you, Ram. It's my pleasure to introduce Kumaresh, who doesn't need any introduction, but we have to do it for the audience. Violin Master Kumaresh is a musical phenomenon, if I can put it. Actually, he has created a paradigm shift in the way world looks like the Indian violin. He is fondly called the fiddling monk, and he is a child prodigy who played his first concert when he was just 5 years old, and he was a sensation in the world of Carnatic music by completing 100 concerts even before the age of 10. And after that, endless accolades have followed him throughout his career. He has played all over the world, all the best venues of the world and all countries. He has a trailblazing decades of concert partnership with his elder brother Sri Ganesh. Actually, in fact, I was sharing with him, I heard them first about 35 years back. I still remember some of the songs they played in that concert. It is such a memorable one. Ganesh and Kumaresh actually as a team have wowed the audiences across the world and greatly impacted an entire generation of young performers and listeners. They have introduced the concept, a new musical form in the Indian music called Raga Pravaham, which basically represents melodies exclusively composed for violin, exploring all the different dynamics and dimensions of the instrument to its full potential. Kumaresh also has many albums along with his brother titled Colors of India, Carnatic Chills, Manoranjani Spark, Bowing with Passion, which are all favorites of all his fans. Another facet of Kumaresh that he has been always innovating, reinventing himself and his music. As a composer, he has created new melodic and rhythmic scales that makes his compositions challenging at the same time invigorating. Kumaresh has collaborated with various world-class musicians from different genres again as Jugalbandhis and duets. He was integral part of an early world music band called Brahma way back in 80s. As a trendsetter, Kumaresh has played a big role in bringing the technology to the audience as the sound of the violin on the stage, how it sounds. He's an out-of-box thinker and a philosopher. He has also redefined the method of teaching violin. In fact, like we see what is happening in all other fields, he has taken even teaching in the online with MOOC kind of a setup, and a lot of youngsters and LS are learning from him virtually now. In combination with Veena Maestro Jayanthi, he has produced what is known as strings attached, a delightful combination of music, melody, aesthetics, and flamboyance, which we saw a glimpse of that. Actually, recently they have launched an album, Run with Strings Attached. That's a music for workout based on Carnatic music. We were just playing that just before the program started, a glimpse of that. And they have really innovatively used Brazilian beats, Cuban drums, and soundscapes across the world in this. It's our privilege to have them with us today. Actually, in fact, they have a live concert this weekend in Bangalore, Chowdaya Memorial Hall, and I'm really glad, in spite of such commitments, and I know many more projects they are working, they have taken time out to be with us and share some thoughts and chat with us. Really thankful to you again, once again, Jayanthi and Kumaresh. Let's chat with the maestro.
We now welcome Dr. Jayanthi and Kumaresh ji to kindly address us.
Namaste to one and all. I mean, this is such a wonderful cerebral group of leaders, such a great group of people who have been there, done that. I really don't know what we are going to contribute to this, but just our 2 cents, just from a different perspective. I think you probably think, how does it look from the side of a musician? There is nothing about leadership that we are going to say and that you would find that you don't know. But just to take you along with this journey that we have had from this part of the world, where I particularly come from a family of 6 generations of musicians. So, for me, to talk about mentoring, tutoring is one thing, but one word that is the mantra is grooming. Mentoring is one thing, tutoring is one thing. So, I am blessed to have a guru who took mentoring to a totally different level. So, more than talking about my experience, I think I would like to share about 4 or 5 insights about how I was groomed. So, in those days, my guru is right now 86 years old. So, I went to her when I was 13 or 12. That is my none other than my mother's elder sister, my Periyamma. So the way she groomed was not like you sit, I'll teach you music. That would be teaching. And then if a person takes over all the things in your life, you would call them a guru. The difference between a teacher and a guru is a teacher teaches you the subject. A guru kind of adopts you and guides you in the path. Guru means the one who removes the darkness. Gu and Ru. So more than that, grooming is something like every day you go to the plant, every day you water it, every day you remove the dry leaves, every day you see what is the new bud, every day you see, should I put some fertilizers? So that kind of a grooming. So what is so special about that? So apart from teaching music, first of all, she would make me wake up at 4 every morning and practice till 7. And then I had to read the newspaper to her and tell her what is the important things that I learned. So she thought if my student has to become somebody important in the world, she should be able to speak to a group of any kind of cerebral people about the current affairs, about what is happening in the world. So reading the paper and summarizing that and talking about it was very important. Listening to great masters of the past was very important. And she made me do masters in English literature so I could express myself, because communication is not about what I want to say, it is about what others understand. So she was very particular about how I communicated. And then she put me in French class in Alliance Française for over 4 years so that I could do my lecture demonstration when I went to Europe in French. So that would give me hold over what the people there understand. I would be able to talk with them very fluently. She put me in dance class with Guru Srimati Alarmail Valli, so that when I compose for dance, I would know how to compose for dance. What are the intricate things in dance? She made me do Sanskrit because most of the compositions are in Sanskrit. And when I have to explain a composition, I would know the language. I would have a Telugu teacher come home every night at 8 o'clock and explain to me the basics of Telugu. By the end of such a long day, as a kid, I would fall asleep in Telugu class most often, but I did pick up some of it. And Telugu class would be there every day. So it was, and after every concert, I had to come home, quickly have dinner, and write down what I played that day and what all mistakes I did. And then play the concert all over again, correcting whatever I did wrong. So this was not a process where you say, my niece is performing, I'm going to sit in the first row, and where can I put on a social media status that she's performing here, so and so is in the audience. It is about cutting off the thorns, cutting off so many things, cutting off the little branches so that in future the tree will grow tall and big. So this was a very inspiring thing. And look at the vision she has had some 40 years ago, the 360 degrees vision of grooming a person to be an artist, not just a musician. How an artist has to think, how there has to be an all-round development. That was one thing. The other most inspiring thing was my the other guru, Dr. S. Balachandar sir. So he was known to be a genius and a very unpredictable person, in the sense like he was known for his, you never know what he's going to do next, but you just know that you're going to love it. So when I went to class, it is very easy for him to say, sit on that high pedestal and say, come, I will teach you this song. He would never do that. He would say, go pick up any book you want and close your eyes and open. Whatever song comes, let's learn it together. So, I mean, it would be like immediately in one step, those million steps that are between me and him would just crumble, and we would be like two students trying to figure out a song. So he achieved it in a second, being that approachable, being friendly. That was one thing. The third thing was Kumaresh ji, how he made me break a few barriers. So Ganesh ji and Kumaresh ji are known for their fusion concerts. They've done Colors of India, Expressions, Carnatic Chills, Spark. I am pretty much known for my very classical Carnatic concerts, duets, Jugalbandhis and things like that. So I had over 10, 12 years ago, I was very particular that this is what I wanted to do. So once Kumaresh ji was traveling abroad, and there was a concert inquiry from a very prestigious concert. So they said they wanted a fusion concert. So I called Kumaresh ji, who was traveling in the United States, and told him, so shall I tell them you're not there? He said, why should you say that? You can play. And then he said, I told him, I don't play fusion concerts. He said, why not? If you really want to be an ambassador of the Saraswati Veena, you have to play all genres. Saraswati Veena is not meant only for Carnatic. You have to make it versatile. There is no limitation to the instrument. So now is the time you have to try. You have to break these mental barriers, be more adventurous and try it. So he could have just said, okay, tell them I'm not in town and, maybe some other time. But he not only made use of the opportunity, he made me create a band called Indian Spice. And then I created a band with keyboard, drums, bass guitar, and a violin. And then that concert became a huge hit. And then we played several concerts. Of course, in our later Indian Spice concerts, we had Kumaresh ji as a guest artist with us. So the other very important person who has groomed us is Ustad Zakir Hussain ji, with whom we've had the great honor, pleasure, privilege and blessing of traveling with and performing with. So there is no stage he has not seen. There is no audience he has not seen. There is no award he has not won. There is no name or fame that he has not got. He's not got. So we would play a concert in a place like a Palladium or somewhere, and they would declare that particular day as Ustad Zakir Hussain Day. And after the concert, he would quickly come to the side wing and he would say, I'm so sorry, I missed that last tihai by a beat. So there is no need for him to say that he missed. I mean, what is in his head should be, what he's played, 99.9999% he's played, but we are playing Carnatic and he's playing Hindustani. So he would always think, and before every concert, he would ask us, what are you guys planning? What are you going to play today? Can we listen to it? Can I play along with you? Is it all right if I play like this? And when we sit on the stage, it's always absolutely overwhelming when we sit with him. And he would, there's such a great aura around him. But 5 minutes into the concert, you feel like you're with friends and he puts you at ease. One of the most important quality is that he would put us at ease and he would bring out the best in us. So that was very inspiring, which also taught us how we should be with our co-artists. There are two scenarios that I wanted to speak about in our regular concerts. Typically, as melodic artists, we have percussion artists as co-artists, or as they call normally accompanists. We, Kumareshji and I, would like to call them as co-artists more than accompanists, because the concert is absolutely equally made by each one of us. So there are two scenarios. If you have really good accompanists or co-artists, there is a possibility that the limelight has to be equally shared by all of us. So if you have a fantastic mridangam or tabla player, if you have a fantastic ghatam player, so everybody's not going to just look at you and say, oh, wow, wow. They're going to say wow to everyone. You have to share the cake. But the end result is the concert will be amazing. The other scenario is if you choose people who are not as good as you would probably outshine and you would get all the credit, but the concert may not be one of the best concerts. So it's a choice that you make in building a team. So when we build a team, it's very important for us that the concert is a remembered experience. Art is always a remembered experience. So we want to make not just our music, but the entire concert as a remembered experience. So when we have really high standard co-artists, it kind of motivates us to scale even higher. That pushes us to a higher level. And there are a lot of challenges when we play a concert like that. You don't do what you normally do. You say, I have very good co-artists today, so I need to do better my act. I have to do better than what I did the other day. Now, the other scenario is, let's say you have top artists, but they are not in good form on that particular day. So immediately you have to change your set list. When you change your set list, you plan in such a way, let's say your mridangam artist is not in good form. Maybe he's having a fever, maybe he's had a bad day, maybe he played already one concert in the morning, maybe his flight is delayed, he came straight from the airport. So when scenarios like that, you shouldn't immediately tax him by playing a very challenging piece in the beginning. So you kind of relax, give him some time to gather, to settle down. So you play a lot of raga, alapana, you give a lot of scope for him to settle down so that when his solo comes, he can really shine. So it's very important to cover up your team, even if they kind of are not up to the mark that day. You know, they have been good, you know, they will be good, but today is just not their day. So you shouldn't put spotlight on where they go around. So you could kind of play things that they will do best and what works for them. The other thing I wanted to say is that when we travel as musicians, organizers usually book very, very good accommodation for us as main artists. And they would kind of book kind of not that great accommodation for our co-artists. So I've learned this from Kumareshji and Zakirji. What they would do is that very quietly, they will go and book accommodation in the same place where we stay for our co-artists and tell the organizer, you know what, I got it. Don't worry. They're going to be staying because we have to rehearse, we have to plan the concert. So don't worry. We're fine. Then they'll say, no, 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 no. They have a place somewhere else. And then Kumareshji would just tell them, no, it's fine. We got it sorted. I made a booking. You don't worry about that. So that the team is built right from when we get on the stage. So for a concert to be successful, we need to hang out with our co-artists. We need to know about their families. We need to have lunch together. We need to share ideas together. We need to travel together. We need to, kind of have fun. We need to have a cup of coffee. We need to laugh together, joke together. And when we get on stage, the camaraderie, the conversations just continue, but it's just on the instruments. It's not what we speak. So the music is all the more musical when we are together as a team. And these are just some very, very little thoughts that came to my mind. And I let Kumareshji take over from here.
Namaste to everybody. this is this moment, wow moment of when Ambal said the twang of Saraswati Veena, no? What am I going to speak now? So after such a wonderful speech, what am I going to do? Because she spoke so beautifully about everything. One thing I would like to start with is that rather than Jugalbandhi, I think you should call it Samvada. So then we can say Samvada. We can say that also. That was Samvada. Could say that also. Anyway, being a musician, it's a beautiful way to have a life. And for me, I don't know anything else but music. Right from my childhood, I've been performing, traveling. But I have learned, understood, imbibed, and inspired by many parameters around the concert, around the musical, around the organizational, around the multiple parameters that is around the musical genre. For example, when we were very young, we had doyens playing along with us on stage, like Shivaraman Mama, or Raghu Mama, or Vinayak Sir, or Valange Manshanmukha Pillai. They were all great names, T.K. Murthy Mama. They were all like Padma Vibhushans, Padma Bhushans, Padma Shris. And they could have easily said, why should we play with these young boys? When they were playing with their own equals, we were putties. I was about 15 and Anna was 17. Even before I was 13 and Anna was 15 when all these great stalwarts started playing with us. They were so accommodative, so encouraging. See, that is a great quality. See, it came naturally. We talk about leadership qualities now, but it was part of the culture. So even when the concert was announced, we were cookies. Our name will come first, and their name will come as accompanied after us, which was actually a disservice to such great artists. But they didn't mind that. They would sit with us and they would see in the kirtan, play this kriti, it will be very nice. When you're starting a concert, plan it in such a way that you don't overdo the first song, and the first song should not be in this talam. So they helped us through every step. So that was a great learning experience for us as to how to perform. What is a performance? Our father was a disciplinarian. He taught us music. Not only that, he taught us so many other things related to music. He will say, when you perform, two things are important. One is the musical quality. Second is how you are presenting. There should be no blemish in your performance. So for that, he will make us practice. So those days, we did not know about this term called muscle memory. We don't know. So his adage will be that when you wake up in the night at 2 o'clock, you should be able to play the Sangati as you are playing now when you're practicing. So he's not only saying what he will do, he will wake us up at 2:30 in the night, both of us, me and Anna, and say, play. And if you don't play it right, you have to practice. No sleep. Sleep is gone after that. Finish. You have to start practicing. So the discipline and the value of performance, perfection, that was instilled in us by him, which is very, very important. So as we grew, as we came in contact with some great leaders, for example, MGRG, Chief Minister MGRG, he made us the state artist of Tamil Nadu. He was so sweet, Many people were not comfortable with the concept of youngsters like me and Anna, Mandin Srinivas, being made state artist at that time. We were all very young. At that time, he said to all the stalwarts who were not comfortable with that, he told them, see, you are all flying high now, great. What about Gen Next? You have to prepare them also. So the boys are playing very well. I'm not saying that they are equal to you, but they are playing very well. We have to encourage them so that they are an inspiration to the next generation. So he had that vision. So he he made a state artist, and we had gone and met him many times. The way he was, he could easily say that I'm not free, I can't meet you and all that. Whenever we went, he will go sit with us, have a cup of coffee with us, talk to us. That shows what a great leader he was. Even we were like 7, I was 15, 17, Anna was 19, and all great, corporate leaders, corporate giants, politicians from other states, great leaders, 60, 70-year-old great scholars. They'll be waiting to meet him, but he will call us inside, talk to us. Shows how much he cares for everybody. And when we play with our great Mridang Vidvans, what we learned is the integrity of a performance. When you play on stage, how are you? The way you treat your instrument, the shruti, the way you tune your shruti. They will ask beforehand, 2 days before, what shruti are you going to play? Are you planning any pallavis? So, which taught us that how sincere they were to the art form. How much, see, they didn't want a half-baked or a performance in which they were not completely involved. That integrity of the value they gave to themselves, that pride they took in themselves, that my performance, people are coming to see, I have to play well. I cannot not play well. So that integrity, those values were very, very important education for us, for me, when I learned from all these people. The way they were, the way they moved with people, the way they spoke to people, all those things were great lessons for us. So also, as we move forward, I learned from my brother is also a great, in a way, is a guru for me. I learned a lot from him. His courage in trying out something new on stage. So when I play with him, it is like, I won't know what is coming. When we were both playing together, suddenly he will take off something and we won't have practiced that at all. It will just come. He said, at Spark, I'm going to play. He'll play. So you will be thrown out of balance. But then that was a great experience, Okay, I can do that too. So how that is a great learning experience for me, how to be aware and prepare yourself for in unexpected scenarios. And my brother will not shy away from trying anything on stage. We started the concept of throwing up ragas from the audience. In the sense, not by names. They won't say Dharmavati, Kalyani or Kambadi. No, by notes. We will ask which Ri, which Ga, which Ma, because we have Madakarta ragas, which are all the 7 notes. And we will ask the audience to give us the different swaras. So that will bring out some very rare ragas like a Swarnangi or a Hatakambari or a Jyoti Swarupini. Some ragam which we would not have learned any composition. But he'll come, he'll play Ragam Tanam. He will play Ragam Tanam Pallavi on that. Not an ordinary thing. Ragam Tanam Pallavi is one of the highest performing platform in a concert. He'll play Ragam. He'll halfway through, he'll leave me play. So I have to play. So he is also not prepared for that. He's playing it in inspiration. So there was a great teamwork happening there because we feed on each other. And then we'll do Tanam. And then Pallavi is done there on stage. And we have co-artists who will be along with it. They also get inspired by what we are doing. And the audience are also part of it. So it's a great way to communicate to the audience the possibilities available in the art form. And then to try something new, to innovate. Playing music, we suddenly thought that lyrics need not be the only way to communicate Carnatic music. We can play because swaras are the basic of any melody, any composition. Without raga, there is no composition. Raga is based on swaras. Lyric is just a vehicle to convey the raga. So on the violin, we cannot sing the lyrics. We are going to only playing the melody. So we thought, why not create compositions for the violin only in our raga and tala structure? So we innovated and we said, we will present it. Let us see whatever happened, let it happen. If it is good, people will accept. If it is not, they will reject. So luckily for us, they got acceptance and we were able to do that. So all these are possibilities in music. So through music, I learned a lot of discipline. I learned the art of presentation, performance, integrity, value, ethics, what is being a musician. All these things have been taught by music to me. So these are the things which has made us and many musicians whatever we are. We are all students of music. We learn from life and music. Both are one and the same according to many of our great rishis and yogis. So that is my bit which I could share with you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jayanthi and Kumaresh. We are just awestruck without any words what to say. That is a true feeling, and it is reflected in the chat as well as many people are messaging us. This is such a wonderful, many know you as musicians, but this dimension of your personality, people are just awestruck. That's the way I would put. Actually, I am not going to summarize what you said, because in the beginning of the program or when we announced, many people asked leadership, coaching and music, what is this topic? And I think if I just note down all the keywords you said, it covers all the aspects. Just now, like Kumaresh completed, ethics, values, innovation, integrity, teamwork, courage. I mean, the list is endless. We'll come to that in the end. And Jayanthi, you shared so many beautiful insights as difference between an artist and a musician, and how overall development is important. How do you rise your potential? How your guru made you approachable. I mean, unbelievable stories. But we would like to now get on to questions and here, and also allow the audience, because there are so many people just waiting. Ram, would you like to add anything?
No, let's just go ahead with the questions, I guess.
Okay. So thanks a lot. And I'm going to
I don't know if you could add anything to what people already do not know in your fantastic forum. You're all great coaches and leaders in your own right.
Thanks a lot, Kumaresh. Again, you are showing your core value of humility. So the first question is, as a guru, what kind of different roles you play? Because I will come from the angle, I know very well you mentor people, you train people about the basics, how to hold an instrument, how to play, how to produce a sound, what are the techniques, what we call the skills coaching kind of a thing. But what we are talking is actually beyond that. The real coaching is trying to get the student reflect, realize their potential and learn on their own. I'm sure in the music field also you must be having similar experience. Will be great to hear from you about this aspect.
See, I call myself a guide more than a guru, because guru is a very big name to shoulder. So as a guide, I can tell you what I do. See, we get multiple kinds of students who come to learn from you. Some want to be professionals. Some want to just to learn music and follow their passion, but have music as a very important integral part of their life, so that when they are stressed, they can just play violin and feel their joy and feel good. So to those students who particularly want to take it as profession and as their way of life, what I try to, I think most musicians do this, we try and help them find their identity, their musical expression. All the composition you can teach them, all the skill set, we can teach them how to play raga, swara, everything. But then ultimately, if I tell my student to play like me, I will be doing a great disservice to that student. So what I do is I tell the student, don't play like me. I will guide you to play like yourself. You have to find your expression. Only then your music will come out. There is music in everybody. That is why we get impacted positively through music. Each of us react differently to music. Some are able to connect to music and create music. Some are able to appreciate music and enjoy music. So to those who are able to create music, we should help them create that music. We should help them create this expression and identity. So what you call it mentorship or you call it coaching, I don't know. But what I try to do is I try to make sure that student, his identity, his personality, his character, that should be reflected in his music. So one's music should be a peek into that person's character and personality, according to me. That should be the identity. So that way, he's creating his own original music, which is important for me.
That's really
Fantastic.
lovely. It's really lovely, Mureji. We just want to also understand what are some of the similarities between how you learned music and how you teach today. Also, what are some changes or adaptations you have done, over the years to impart musical knowledge and to bring out the individuality in each person or the expression in each person.
See, it is like this. See, when I learned music, I did not learn it the way everybody learns. I can tell you from what my parents and my brother told me. I was playing around when I was 3.5, and Appa students were learning violin in Kanpur. And there was one particular phrase in the Maya Mada Gola Varna which they were finding it difficult to play. And I am supposed to have told my father I will play. And I am supposed to pick up the violin and played the phrase. I don't know how I played it, but he said he was all stunned by what I played. I don't remember it. From that day, my violin lesson started. So it started from the Varnam directly. I did not learn this Sarali Verse, Gita Manor. I did not learn all that. So to my students, what I teach or what I guide them is according to each person's skill set. The moment you see them play, any performer, any guru will know that this boy can do this very well and other boy can do the other thing very well. It's very important to identify that. So I make sure that I don't teach the same set of lessons to everybody. Mostly it will be the same, but certain people will find certain things very difficult. So avoid it and do something else. Create, improvise, and make it easier for them so that they are able to be part of this journey. So that's important. So you have to be creative there.
How about you, Jayanti ji? Would your approach be fairly similar, or do you?
I see a sea of change in how I learned and how I have to teach. So when I learned, one important thing called internet was not there. So our gurus would not let us record, not let us immediately write down,
Yeah.
would not repeat something that was said more than once, and we could not ask silly questions again and again. Today, class is like a press conference. They come with a recorder, with a video recorder, with the audio, video, notation, everything is given, and their cell phones are with them, and they have to check the status and everything is happening. So this internet has changed the entire let us take a composition. So we would wait for our guru to tell us the composition, understand it. Today, at the tip of the fingers, everything the student wants to Google the Sahityam, read the meaning, listen to 10 versions of the same song, compare it, upload their version. Everything is done in half an hour. So it is not like comparing apples and apples. It is like two different worlds. And our gurus, however well we played, they used to think if they praised us, it will get to our head. And the maximum they will say is, that's all. Today, even if you play the first exercise in music, what we call as Sarali Verse, we have to say, wow, good job. Because then otherwise the student will not come for the next class. They look for more appreciation, more praise, and they're not able to take feedback or criticism like we did. I think we're made of a little more harder stuff. But today, if I did the same kind of training I got from my guru today, I wouldn't have even one student near me. So today it's, you did very well. Or today you were really in very good form. What we could probably do is just add a little more of this. This is how we have to package. And the demarcation of a guru and shishya was very wide when I learned. Today, we have to be like friends. And we have to, though they sometimes do not understand such a great world of difference between where they are and we are, but the secret is trying to make them believe that we are friends and we are on equal ground. So we may not mentally be, but we delude them into thinking that, oh, we're all in this together, so that they think it's no big deal and they feel very comfortable with us and they can talk to us about everything. So I would always sometimes think, if my guru would teach today, would these students go through even one class? So we really have to change, definitely, with the times. And even if the children are able to take it, the parents call up and then they say, my child is very sensitive. If you ask them to play it twice, they get into depression, and then we have to go and take some psychological sessions. So whatever she plays, please encourage her. So the scenario is very, very different, Krishnanji. It's really not the same.
Jayanthi, that was a brilliant one. This will be a lesson for leaders whom we are struggling to deal with the millennials in the corporate life. This is the same story. So that was a brilliant one. Thanks a lot. I'll move to the next question. Both of you are prodigies, child prodigies, no doubt. You started learning at the age of 2.5 or 3, and then you started your concerts at the age of 4, 5, and you have been sustaining this for decades. The mystery for all of us is to understand. It is said that to achieve mastery, we need 10,000 hours of practice. At least that's what the papers say. And to sustain, again, you need to continue that. We just want to understand your own regimen of how you learned and how you are sustaining this mastery. Both of you can answer. Actually, I'm not asking you specifically. Please feel free, because
I think I'll let Kumareshji answer that.
Okay.
See, when we did practice, we used to call it sadhana those days. Even today we practice. That is a part of our life. To do sadhana is practice, part of our life. We never thought about how many hours we were playing or how many minutes we were clocking. It was never that. It was about able to play one phrase well, or one song, learn the song very well, learn the tala cycle very well. If the tala what we are playing is going to our tala, it is because those days we didn't have all this metronome and all those things. We have to put tala on our legs and play. And me and Anna, we will put each other tala and we will help each other out. But when we were playing alone, we practiced separately also. I remember I just used to go to the terrace at about 7 in the evening until morning. We will not come back around 5 or 6 in the morning. Will come down. So the next day, our next door neighbor will come and tell me, Kumaresh, thank you very much. I had a very good sleep listening to your music. Because those days we didn't have this much noise pollution also. So what we used to know is that when you look at the sky, there will be some movement will be there. Maybe it was a flight or a satellite, we don't know. Full of stars. Those days we could see stars in the sky, unlike today, less of light pollution also. So that was so after some time, one flight from the Madras, from the sea towards the land, it will go. After some time, one flight from the land towards the sea will go. That was our time. That's how we timed it. So through the night, there will be 4 flights up and down. So practice was never a concept of time. So about this 10,000 hours of practice, we never thought about it that way. And even today we practice. We are going to perform tomorrow, me and Jayanthi, at Chowdhury Memorial Hall. So we have to play together. We have to plan something. We just sit together, work on it, practice. So that is, sorry, the power has gone here. It will come back. So
that was again brilliant, Kumaresh. Actually, it's not looking at the time, but till you get the perfection, that is amazing.
So you don't look at it in terms of hours. You look at it in terms of how well you are playing, the skill set, the challenges, and that you could play it anytime you want. I pick up the violin now if I want to play. Sometimes you go to a stage directly after travel. From the airport, you directly go to the stage. You have no time to warm up. You should hit the road running. That's what they say, right? In English, so first song you should hit it like that. So for that, your hands should be fine-tuned all the time, ready to perform anytime. So it becomes a second nature. So that is how we practice. That is how we worked on our music.
We also wanted to ask you about the concept of feedback, as it relates to you. You said you yourself both are such legends. You played with such big legends. There's Jayanti ji said, the age of internet and social media, and so much being written about and spoken, even as the concert is in progress. There are co-artists on stage, audience coming to you speaking. So, who all do you typically receive feedback from, and how do you handle it? How do you incorporate it in your life, in your music? If you could, let us know about something about that.
So, when I play a concert, the first thing I ask Kumaresh ji if he's there is tell what was not okay. So he does the same thing. After he finishes, he tells me, okay, so tell me what was not okay. So our family, if they listen to it, they give us the feedback. So I ask for feedback from every person I know, in the sense, from my students to the little, I'll ask the little students, what was your favorite part of the concert? Which gives me an idea to understand what do children look for. And then I ask youth, I ask connoisseurs, so I get an idea, or even if they go to somebody else's concert, I will ask them, what was your favorite part of that concert? So that you get an insight into what people look for. See, ultimately, music is all for self-realization. But the minute you're on stage and people have bought tickets and they are sitting there, it is our dharma to play for them. So what they like, to present music and give them a wonderful evening. So I ask feedback and I take criticism very well, because that's what allows us to grow. It is very important to be surrounded by people who will give us the actual and real picture. If you are surrounded by people who will flatter you, we will never grow. So my guru has told me that we should always surround ourselves with people who will give us the real picture and say, today you are not that much in form. Or somebody who would say, you practiced that better at home, didn't you? So that allows us, it is a bitter pill. The ear wants the sound of applause. The ear wants to hear, oh, that was brilliant. But you have to take this, because somewhere in the part of your mind, next time I must do this better will come. That's the only thing that allows us to grow. So feedback tells you what you could do better. Feedbacks also tell you what you should not do. So it helps both ways.
That was brilliant, Jayanti. Thanks a lot. I mean, feedback is one of the most difficult things for leaders as well. And the way you explained, it shows your humbleness, and actually that's the path of growth. Really amazing. Next question I have is about the changing times. Actually, the entire landscape has changed so much, particularly in the last few years due to the pandemic and other things. Live concerts were not there. Now it is starting. It's really nice you are playing this weekend, but it was not there for almost 2 years. The pandemic had shaken the world. But I have been noticing both of you were quite active, engaging with the fans. How did you reinvent yourself? That's my question in these changed times.
Jen, do you want to take it, Kana?
No, you can answer it, and then I'll add something.
See, necessity, what you say, is the mother of all invention. That's what it says, right? So when this pandemic hit, actually we were supposed to travel to Europe before the pandemic hit. On March 8th, we had a concert in Paris. It was a sold out concert. But somewhere in the back of our head, March 6th, lockdown was still not on. But we just thought we should not go. So we canceled the concert. After that, we did not go anywhere. The lockdown happened. It was a strange feeling for the first 10-15 days, because we couldn't go out anywhere. We couldn't even go out of the house. We were locked inside. First 1 week, 10 days was very strange. And then something very beautiful happened. For the first time after so many years, I could actually play music for myself. It was not practice, it was just playing music for myself. In a sense, earlier it was practice to acquire skill, to learn compositions, to be able to challenge myself and do something extraordinary, to be flamboyant. All that to perform, to make for performance. Practice was always oriented to all those skill set and performance. But now, no performance, nothing, nobody to be pleased, just you and your instrument. It was such a beautiful moment. so nice. So that triggered something beautiful. Sometimes the thought of sharing helped me put that portal together, that going with fiddling monk, which I put about 600, 700 lessons, video lessons. I could do the whole thing. I had enough time to think through the course, put it up so that anybody can learn violin. From a chai wala, from an auto driver, from a taxi driver to a corporate honcho, anybody can pick up a violin and learn. The courses are simplified. It is not the same course that we normally learn in a Carnatic setup. It is something very unique, tailor-made to play the violin. And then I was inspired by some ringtones. I made a melody out of a ringtone. I remember it sounded like Navarasa Kannada. I did something like that. So many things. Did some unique compositions to play on the upper octave. I made a couple of varnams in one in Janaranjani where it is entire varnam is on the upper octave, not done on the violin. So all these challenges, something new, something which has not been tried before. So I wanted the reinvention because that is natural. We all are capable of doing that. Just that as long as we don't limit ourselves to our mind is the one which limits everything. If we keep our mind limitless, everything is possible. Everything is possible. It's the mind which limits, which says, I learned this somewhere, this beautiful line which said, if you use the mind, you do a lot of positive things. When you use the mind. But when the mind uses you, you do all the unwanted things like watching TV, looking at Facebook, unwanted movies, all those things you do, watching cricket match, all that happens. But when you are using the mind, you do creative things, you do positive things. You bring out with something very new, it inspires you. You become your own inspiration when you start doing that. That's a great thing to be, great place to be in. So in a way that pandemic helped. And Jane, they did some fantastic work during this pandemic. You should tell about that, Jay.
Yeah, so I saw in a t-shirt somewhere in an airport I was transiting, somebody was wearing, life begins outside your comfort zone.
Wow.
So this was a passenger who was just passing. It struck a chord in me. So then I realized how much we are all in a bubble, and wherever we are, see, even when we go to, let us say we go to a foreign country, we try to create an ambience of what we are used to in our land. So the same thing, and we take pride in saying, this is a little India. I have created everything that is there in India. But is that the real thing that we should do? Shouldn't we loosen up and blend with the culture that is there? So there is a learning opportunity for us. So in the pandemic, I got more busy than I would be on routine, normal concert days. So what was happening? We were already doing a Capo Carnatic series of webisodes on social media, talking about different aspects of Carnatic music. But now, during the pandemic, when everybody was a little depressed, we decided it was not a great time to actually give gyan like that. Nobody really wanted, okay, you know what Swaraksharam is, you know what Go Puchayati is, all these things. So we had to do something wherein there is a win-win. People learn something, but they also smile. So we did what is called as a fun series where we took tunes from Hollywood. We did Game of Thrones, we did Harry Potter, we did Furellis, we did, what else did we do? James Bond. We did quite a lot of things. I played those tunes on the Veena and related it to the Indian ragas and thalas and said, see how cool Indian music is. So suddenly, the youngsters, so many young people became fans. They said, oh, Veena is a cool thing. You can play Harry Potter. Even when I go out, little kids ask me, Auntie, will you teach me to play Harry Potter on Veena? So it suddenly became a very cool thing to do. The other thing was, we said, okay, this we've done for youth. And then we did something for kids called Kids Series, where we took stories from Panchatantra and wove it around Veena music, telling like the Lion and the Mouse story on the Veena. So when you present the content in a way that they learn certain things that they don't know they are learning it. They think they are listening to the Lion and Mouse, but incidentally, Abogi, Ragam, Sindhu Bhairavi, Ragam, Behag, Ragam is going into them. So Kids series was something like that. Apart from that, in Insta, we did a Guess the Ragam series where we would give picture clues, and using those clues, they had to guess the Ragam. And last but not the least, we did an album called Run with Sa, which is workout music. So everybody was raising their eyebrows and saying, Carnatic music, classical music, for gym, for workout. We said, why not? And then we created these. We spoke to a lot of gym instructors, did a lot of research, spoke to runners, people who work out, and found out the beats per minute, found out the speed they work at. We did a warm up, then actually keeping up the beat and then cool down. So Run with Sa was something that we really enjoyed, and it is completely out of what we normally do. So while we were doing it, we had these fears. Will people judge us? Will they think that, oh, they are not playing their usual content? What are they doing? Is it something different? No, but there's only one way to find out. But as artists, we should never fear to take risks, because then you would have missed such a great opportunity. So we were happy we did that, and it turned out to be a good project. So I think we took too long to answer this question.
But that was lovely. I mean, so many different perspectives that came together in that answer. We also wanted to ask you about, you spoke about internet and technology, etc. But you also spoke about the instrument itself being versatile and so flexible, and being able to express so many other genres, etc. What role has technology played in your music and in your instrument? What are some specific technology inputs you have factored in your instrument or in your performance over the years?
I'll let Kumaresh ji answer that.
Technology is something which you have to adapt yourself to use, because it helps you in a very, very big way. It scales up your performance multifold. See, we started using technology, something called as a pickup, as early as 85, 86, when we used to play with tawil and all that. See, tawil is a very loud instrument. The violin is a very soft instrument. And those days, mics were not enough to bring out our volume. So we got pickups made for the violin from Calicut. We used to get it from Calicut. But then we were always on the lookout for better instruments, better mics, so that we can scale it up. The sound can be better. We still are on the lookout. When something new comes up, we immediately check it out, how it is. So because we want our instrument to sound the best all the time. The acoustic sound is great. But then what happens when you go to different halls, not everywhere you have very good acoustic setup, particularly in India. In certain places, the sound system is very ordinary. So you need to have a good system from your end at least, so that the sound that goes from your end is high quality. Your music is high quality. So all the more the reason that you have a very, very good technology around your sound, so which goes to the audience is a very, very good sound. So technology you have to adapt it. It's very important. You have to learn, you have to look around. Now, lot of new innovations are happening in technology, which is very, very good to see.
Excellent, excellent. We have one more last question before we jump to the audience. Actually, we people listen to music to boost our creativity, to get some out of the box ideas. But you are musicians, so what do you do to boost your creativity?
Creativity is not like a vitamin which needs a booster. Creativity is something that is triggered by the ecosystem around you. It is something that is created by things that you see, things that you hear, and the thoughts that we form. So, for which it is very important to not have a very planned life. So, I read somewhere, artists never see things as they really are, for if they did, they wouldn't be artists. So if you are very predictable, then creativity doesn't jump in. You have to always do the unexpected, and then you feel inspired. For that, I can vouch for you. Kumaresh ji, 365 days of the year, he does what is unexpected. So So that way, it is very, very creatively inspiring, because when you have a new situation, you really have to prepare yourself, and then you get creative, right? Let us take a small instance. You've just wrapped up dinner and there's nothing. Suddenly, four people turn up. You get creative, right? So and you, whatever is there, I can fix this, I can get that, I can order that, I have this from the morning. So you just churn up and it turns out to be a lovely dinner for them. So only when there are situations like that, you get creative. If there is everything on the table, you just eat. So I think putting yourself in situations, putting yourself that is challenging, that's when creativity actually comes up.
Thanks a lot. That was again brilliant, Jayanthi. I think it's time for both of us to stop and let the audience interact. The way we go already, there are many questions in the chat window. We will moderate that, and if someone wants to ask, please post in the window. We will choose because the time is limited. I hope we get some chance for many more things. Actually, first one I would like to ask Ramesh from CFI. I think he is one person who has taken a bold journey at now. I think Ramesh, I liked your question. Please ask your question, Ram, if you can unmute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would like to ask is, now I am starting my Mridangam journey now. Just sort of my sheer interest to be associated with the music world. I am 50 plus. So just to know one piece of advice as to how I can keep myself motivated so that I continue this journey for long. Thanks.
So, Jay, you want to take it?
No, you answer him.
Sir. Okay. See, at 51, it is amazing that you get the motivation to learn. That is beautiful. See, what music does to you. It is very important that all of us are connected to music one day or the other, because music is the reflection of the primordial sound, which you call as nada. Okay. So what happens as you play music, with or without your knowledge, all your chakras get aligned. So that itself is a beautiful yoga that you're practicing. Without your knowledge, you're practicing another yoga. Right? So I'm sure you're not looking at performing at this age. You just want to pray for your joy. You want to have a very good time playing Mridangam, experimenting, exploring whatever you can. So what you can do is, you can play your favorite music and play along with it. That will be a beautiful way of unwinding. You can play MS Ammas, Bhajan, Bhajoga Vindam, and you can play along with it. You can play, because the only thing, the Shruti has to align with that. That you have to do. If you like KV and SAR's music, you can play along with that. You like Jayanti's music, you can play along with that. That is a beautiful way of keeping yourself in connection with the artist and your interest of playing music. And these days you have so many equipments available for that. You even get karaoke music now. You get even that also, wherein the Mridangam, original Mridangam can be taken out. You can play your Mridangam along with what is sung. So all these are available now. So that's a beautiful way to keep yourself busy. It's fantastic that at this age you are connecting yourself to music. It will actually help you in aligning your thought process. Well, all the very best.
Thank you very much. That's very reassuring. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kumaresh. There is a question posed by R.R. Nair, I think. Actually, this is about relating to the corporate. That in corporates, we have a sponsorship program. We identify young talent, and then we promote them faster. We give them coaching. We develop them faster, fast track as potential development. Do you have such experience with young talent, promoting them faster in the musical as well with your students?
There is a lot of fast track happening in the music world too. In music, like in everything else, the journey is what is beautiful more than the destination. So the journey of going through sub-junior concert, junior concert, slowly senior concert, and then the process that goes on. So the process is what makes it really, that's when the fruit really becomes ripe. The fast track may be good if it is like a phenomenal talent, but discretion has to be used in a very great way when we put somebody on fast track, because it is a responsibility to that person's experience and life, and it is also it is a responsibility to the quality of a product you are putting there in the marketplace, if I may call that so, which may not yet be ripe to be consumed as something that is very senior. So it is a huge responsibility when we take something and put it up in the fast. In those days, they used to say child prodigies, adult tragedies. But they used to say that. But it is very, very important to know what we are doing when we put somebody on fast track.
There's a question from Dwarka Naji and a few others. You spoke about tragedy. So actually, they want to understand when you have a difficult moment at home and you have a concert next, or something like a tiff at home or some difficult situation at home. How do you really go and perform there when you're not at your emotional best and stuff like that? So
that is when all the guru's training comes in. The way you learn from your guru, the way they put you down all the time. They don't say you are good. They discipline you. The rigorous training that you go through. So we say Tamil padappadutharadhu, we say that, right? So it is like, how do you say it in English? It is for like fermentation,
Yeah.
You go through that process, and over a period. So what happens? You're always present at any given situation, and you are also with music. At any given situation, you are able to be present and you don't lose your balance. Example, as I told you the other day, what happened with Jayanthi in Cleveland in 2014 or 15, when she lost her beloved Peripa, with whom she was brought up all along. She was in Cleveland and he passed away. She was almost on the concert stage at that time. She had to perform. Audience were there.
Can I add something to that? So the thing is, there is music and there is what we do in our everyday life. So the minute we pick up our instrument, we latch on to a different Wi-Fi. So that Wi-Fi is seamless. It's not like our Act or Airtel or something that keeps going up and coming. That Wi-Fi is a constant Wi-Fi. But what we have in our everyday life is Wi-Fi that will come, that will go. So the minute we pick up our instruments, the Wi-Fi we latch on to is seamless. So you completely forget what happens, whether there's a tiff at home, whether there is a uncomfortable thing at home, whether you are not well, something else takes over and the concert gets done. The minute it is done, you're back to like a thud, you're back to the normal world Wi-Fi. So that is the beauty of music.
Thank you. Thank you very much. May I ask, Hari had a question. Hariharan from CFI. Ram, if you could unmute him.
Good evening. In the corporate world, we have teams that come together just for projects and then disband once the project is over. So much like maybe a music concert, right? Where there are maybe a couple of main artists and then accompanying artists who are all coming together just for that particular concert and then disbanding again. This obviously calls for a lot of coordination, of the thought process, maybe of the mood of the room. It's also about understanding who leads, who follows, and managing, of course, also maybe the egos in the room. I mean, this is such a complex task, given also the fact that you're performing in front of a live audience. Unlike many of us in the corporate where it happens within the offices. How do you manage this, such a complex arrangement in a way that leaves everybody feeling happy, satisfied, and the audience gets a great experience?
you just nailed it with the last statement. The idea is to leave the audience with a great experience. So we all perform with that idea in the mind. See, when we collaborate with music from artists from other genres, they come from different culture, different dialect, and their way of life is different, totally different from our way of life. So we meet them only about an hour or so before the concert. So we just talk to each other, understand each other's mindset, what they are comfortable, what we are comfortable, what they are not comfortable, all these things. Over a period of conversation, we understand all that. And then see, it all comes from experience also. You have learned, living through this journey of music, you meet so many people. You have done all that in your life. You adjust at the various scenarios, you adjust, you compromise, or you take up the lead, all that you do. Similarly, on the concert stage, all those comes together. And when we play musically, we can find that somebody is in good form. So we just leave let them go. Take them, let them do, so that they can shine. They are in the free flow. And then once they are done, the other person takes over. So it's all full of give and take. Ultimately, the experience, the musical experience should be great. It's not about one person shining, as Jayanthi said in the beginning. It's not about the main artist shining. It is about everybody coming together and live a great experience. And you learn from that for what the other person has to give you. Since I said we all come from different culture, each culture has a different story to tell, and you learn. There is so much to learn from those people also. It's a learning experience.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Kumaresh, there's a bunch of questions from Puneet Chaitanya, but we'll pick one question. He says, he asks if there have been very tough decisions that you have taken in your musical career, like one example of such a decision, which is very tough to take, but turned out to be right in retrospect.
Yeah, you want to take?
You can take it.
Okay. We took a very tough decision early in our life that we will never accompany. Violin is also an accompanying instrument. We decided we will not accompany. Every other violin player in Carnatic music has accompanied somebody and then come to center stage. We decided that both of us, we will not accompany, we will play only as center stage artists. We will not sit on side at all. So that was a tough decision to take, but on hindsight, it was a wonderful decision to take. So,
Jayanthi ji, would you want to share something, some similar stuff from your journey?
Every decision is tough. What name to play for that concert? What to start that concert with? Whom to ask you to play along in that concert? Whether to accept this concert or not. I think, decision making happens at every stage in music. So it is not everything going smooth. From the time an organizer reaches out to you, you don't know if it's the right concert to play. You want to know who are the other artists. Is it a good time to play? Who are the artists you should choose to play along with? What are the songs you should play? How you should go? There are multiple things. Yes, choice as musicians, I think almost every exit, there is a choice we make. Some are right, some are not right, but we learn.
That was again very nice, Jayanthi. Thanks for sharing. I think Jacob has got a question. Ram, could you unmute him?
Yeah. Jacob, do you want to ask your question? Sir Krishna, do you want to ask the question on his behalf?
Yeah, I will read it out. This is a slightly different one, but connected with, again, corporate life and leadership, probably.
Sri Krishna, he's now here. Jacob, do you want to?
Hi. Excellent insights, Jayanthi ji and Kumaresh ji. For me, the question is also connected to some things that we face in our work. Both of you have stuck onto an instrument for life. And I read in an article, Jayanthi ji saying that Veena chose me. And in our life, we see people wanting to move on from one to another. People get bored very fast. Has it happened to you at any time that you wanted to experiment on some other instrument? Or how did it happen that you could stay with one instrument for life?
So I think there was never a point, except when I am checking in my instrument at the airport, when I wished I had something the size of my palm. That is the only time I really wished I had learned something I could put inside my pocket and then take it out, and it would grow big when I reached US or London. That is the only time when I have thought, I really wish I had a small instrument. But every other time, uh, the minute you touch it, the minute you play, I realize how much more there is to learn, how much more there is to practice, how much more there is to discover. But there have been times when you said, I should move on. Am I doing the same thing for a period of time? I should break this barrier. I should break the monotony, try something new. I may be criticized, but an artist's journey is a long, continuous process. So I've never wanted to not do Veena. Let me try guitar for some time. Let me try flute for some time. That has never happened, because I think that will happen in the initial stages of your journey. But after a certain point in time, I think it kind of becomes ordained. You kind of build a spiritual contact with what you are doing, and that takes care of it.
I think you told that, the spiritual contact.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
I think Rajshekaran has got an excellent question about, I think, please unmute him. You can ask directly, Ram.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Ram and Krishnan. I think the question what I've asked is, this is concerning feedback, right? If you really look at feedback per se, this happens in the professional world as also, I'm sure it's happening to you, Madam and Sir. How do you, sometimes you don't get feedback at all. How do you know that you performed well or not performed well? There's no written feedback. There is no vocal feedback. How do you get feedback? Very often, I think in the professional world, the leader is left in a situation like this. I hope I'm not complicated my question.
What happens is, as an artist, you know what is good, what is bad. You should be your first critic. You should be your first critic. That is very, very important. So generally, all the artists record all their concepts. We all record our concepts. Our own personal record we will have. We will listen to it. So we will know from our perspective what we have played, how we have played. So we know our own personal record is there for us. After that, when we get feedback, we also discern who is giving us the feedback. It is very important. If it is a critical feedback, we will see who is giving it. If it is an artist, is our senior artist, or an artist from another form of another genre, or is he a erudite connoisseur, who is giving a feedback? We will look at all that. Some criticism we won't even bother. We won't even touch it, because we know we don't have to bother about it, because that person, if somebody, if a critic is writing about technique on the violin and Veena, he definitely doesn't know to play the violin or the Veena. If he's talking about our technical expertise, then we know that we should not take it seriously. Right. So we definitely know that what feedbacks are important. We have our own records, so we will know which perform we have played very badly, which we have played very well. We will definitely have the record. So, as if you're talking about leadership, then I think as a leader we will know, right? Our conscience will tell us that this is right and this is wrong, and we should be smart enough to accept that. Listen to ourselves.
Yeah, I think you got it. I think the guy should have the gut feeling.
Yeah,
to know whether he is real.
You have the courage to accept it, and if you are at fault, you should say you are at fault. So if I play a bad concert, I will definitely make sure the next concert I'll play the same composition but play it well, so that is taken care of. I will know, same with Jayanthi, same with every other musician. we will work on our shortcomings and make sure it doesn't happen again.
So my take from what you're saying is, a leader, as coaches, we should, tell the people who we are coaching to develop that, sense of, awareness, where he's going.
Yes.
He should be true to himself. Otherwise, there is no mirror. You don't know how you look.
So if you make a mistake, you should have the courage to accept the mistake. That's very, very important.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We have Sriram wanting to ask a question. Ram, if you could unmute him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sriram.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Sri Krishnan. I had a question. Typically, we have seen in the world of music, the greater the musician is, the more humble they are. I mean, they talk so humble of themselves. Humility is such a obvious quality of greatness. But in corporates, we don't practice it we don't describe it as an explicit competency. We erase it in the form of being very assertive. Hey, you're not visible. You should talk about your stuff and things like that. Whereas humility is such a great successful character of successful musicians. So can you say something about it? I mean, why is humility and being humble so important?
Jay?
So the thing about ego, I think we were having the other session the other day when we were talking about this thing called ego. So saying I know is important. Saying only I know is not that great. So I think when we say and when we speak, when we exhibit our knowledge in not so many words as saying what I want you to do or what I think is right, what I think you should do. Instead, we could say, maybe this would work out. In my experience, I've seen that this works out. Maybe we could try and wing this around like this. Maybe, what do you think you could actually do this? I mean, I think it's not what we say, but how we say is giving the flavor of whether it is authority or whether it is comradeship or whether it's friendliness. I have felt like that when I tell a student, play this 50 times. The student's face becomes so small. When I say, do you think playing many times would help you? She would say, yes, ma'am. So I think the way we quote it and phrase the sentence adds a lot in my humble experience.
To add on to that, ego is important, but ego should not become arrogance. Those are two different things. Ego is very, to achieve something, you need that drive. That is the ego, that I drive should be there, but that should not turn into arrogance. So you should be aware of that fine line. So as a musician, we understand that there's always something else at work because we don't know where the sound is coming from. We are aware we are the instrument that has been chosen to convey that sound to the audience. So when we play, that sound that goes from our instrument to the audience ears need not be pleasant for the audience. What makes it pleasant? That is where the ego is shattered, the arrogance is shattered. Because if I think it is my sound which is going and creating that pleasantness, I'm totally wrong, because at that point that sound will be bad. But we don't know what is it that makes that sound beautiful. That is where the divinity comes in, a changing spiritual connect comes in. Ego is very important, but it should not become arrogance. In the corporate, maybe it's getting into arrogance. I don't know.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thanks a lot, Kumaresh. That was a brilliant. Coming to the close, I think spirituality is also another dimensions we look as coaches. I think you really clarified what is the difference. I think we would like to close. I know we have a concert tomorrow and you have to start the practice. I think really great. Before we close, I don't want to summarize because there is so much running in our minds. You said everything about possibly what is about leadership. Jayanthi, if I can say the difference between an artist and musician, and then mental barriers, how do you break, how to be humble. Again, Kumaresh, you added the spiritual dimension, and even team building, how do you do with your co-artists, not your accompaniments, co-artists. How do you teach the next generation of people in a completely different way? How do you adapt to their styles? and how do you really coach other than teaching them the skills? I mean, it has been amazing, amazing. The insights are so wonderful. I think the audience comments also are just reflecting the thought, and no amount of thanks from our side will be enough. Ram, please go ahead.
So first, I'll begin by thanking the CFI core team led by Ganesh Chella, then Suresh Srinivasan, Ramesh Srinivasan, Sangeeta for helping us put this together so quickly, and Ganesh, Suresh, for immediately agreeing to have this session and giving us this platform. Thanks to the Chennai and Bangalore chapter leads, VM Rajshekaran, Vijay Kumar, Rajshri, Krishna, and David, for collaborating and enabling this unique experience, this samvada, as Kumaresh ji said, to take place. And thank you to the lovely CFI family for coming and participating and sharing what all they have picked up from the session. And of course, big thanks and gratitude to Dr. Jayanthi Kumaresh and Kumaresh ji for a wonderful and memorable session. Sri Krishnan and I, we are sure that each one of us here will carry these memories. Like you said, art is a remembered thing. We will carry these memories and learnings from the session for a long time to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
It was a pleasure, and we are totally inspired by all of you. And thank you so much for having us with you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
All the best, and wish you all a wonderful evening tomorrow and the days ahead. Happy festivals, and thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you
very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.